Good afternoon. This is the last session of our Jumpstart series. And with the Jumpstart series, nakita nyo na that we have the 9 subjects that we have discussed for the last 9 days. I'd like to ask, meron na ba sa inyo nakapagsagot ng mga assessment exams niya? Nasa website natin. Sino nakapag-try na magsagot? Meron na ba? I think may ilan lang nakapagsagot ng assessment tests natin. Now, the subject for today is English. Hello, Sir Ian. Nandito na rin pala kayo. For today, this is the last session of the Jumpstart program, which is English. And our mentor for today is Ma'am Mariel. She is a graduate of Political Science in UP Manila and a graduate of Masters in Women's Studies, tama ba, in UP Diliman. So, Ma'am Mariel is relatively new in Review Masters, but she has been highly evaluated by our students. So, ano ko lang sa inyo, FB Live, we will always start at 2 o'clock. Nakita namin that 2 o'clock is the best time for students to review. So, here we go. Ma'am Mariel, are you ready po?
Hi, sir. Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, so ma'am, I will turn over the class to you and the floor is yours for the rest of the afternoon. Anytime you need assistance po para sa akin, I will just be here observing the class. Mariel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So, as Sir Neb mentioned, I'm Miss Mariel. I'm a graduate of Political Science in UP Manila, but I've been I've been teaching English classes, I think, for tutorial and review centers for quite a long time already. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Let's begin. This is the diagnostic test for English for the Jumpstart class is fairly short, but I've included some detailed explanations and let's try to make it interactive. I will be attentive with your chat messages. Ayan, ang dami. Okay. Okay. Sige, let's begin. Wait lang. I will... Okay, is this better? Is this better? Okay, so for the first part, we will be discussing the language proficiency part of the diagnostic test. So for part 1, the directions are: the following sentences or paragraphs have some words missing as indicated by the numbered blanks. Read the paragraphs carefully. Select the best answer for each number from the options given. So it is a fill in the blanks test. So you have to choose the best word from the choices. So for question number 1, it is time that the leaders of this nation came down from their blank towers and addressed the real needs of the people. Again, I'm going to read the questions twice. Okay, so it is time that the leaders of this nation came down from their blank towers and addressed the real needs of the people. It's letter A, clock, B, gold, C, great, or D, ivory. Again, A, clock, B, gold, C, great, or D, ivory. Okay, ang bibilis niyong sumagot, ah. Sige, a lot of you have answered letter D, which is ivory. So the correct answer is letter D, ivory. So ivory tower. The term ivory tower is also known as a collocation or a common expression. So what does ivory tower mean? what does ivory tower mean? Do you know? Ivory tower. So the expression ivory tower is known as a collocation. So the ivory tower collocation means to live or be in an ivory tower is not to know about or to want to avoid the ordinary and unpleasant things that happen in people's lives. Correct? Para siyang pedestal or yeah, and being ignorant or turning a blind eye into what is being experienced by people on the ground. So yeah, privilege, correct, privilege disposition. Yeah. So being in an ivory tower is being in a place of privilege wherein you do not experience or you do not pay attention to the experiences of other people around you. So that is known or that is called as a collocation. So a collocation is the habitual juxtaposition of a particular word with another word or two or more words that often go together. So these are word pairings that often go together or taken together and understood on that context. For example, we say fast food. We do not say quick food. Okay, so take risks. You do not say get risk or jump risk, di ba? We always say take risk. Make room when you want to give space to a person. Take a seat. You don't say get a seat or buy a seat, di ba? You say take a seat when you want the person to sit down. Or you say you break someone's heart. You don't say you crush someone's heart. You don't say you destroy someone's heart, di ba? The proper term that we use there is to break someone's heart. So collocations are word pairings that are or are words that are usually used together that makes perfect sense or that is best understood if they are paired together. So for the second question, if you have questions or clarifications, you can comment in the chat box so I can see and address it, okay? So for the second question, the police blank him of murder and theft. Again, the police blank him of murder and theft. Letter A, blamed. Letter B, charged. Letter C, convicted. Or letter D, presaged. Blamed, charged, convicted, presage, or presage. Sige, most of you have answered letter B. Why letter B? Why not letter A? Why did you say charged? Why not blamed or why not convicted? Because we have to take into account or we have to take into consideration the context of the sentence. So in this context, the correct answer is letter B, charged. When you say charged, it means that the person can either be found guilty or not guilty for the crime, while for convicted, the person is already guilty of the crime that the person did. If blamed naman, it does not fit the context because it's already in the hands of the police, diba? So it means that they already have enough proof on the person's case of murder and theft. So in this context, correct, no? Blame is purely accusation, no valid evidences yet. While charged is yun nga, You can be charged when you're charged with a certain case. You can be tried and you can be deemed guilty or not guilty. While convicted, you already have a conviction, or there is already a decision regarding your case. Yes, already guilty if convicted. Okay, number 3. Capitalist society, blank revenue as indispensable to the economy. Again, capitalist society, blank revenue as indispensable to the economy. Letter A, considers. Letter B, considering. Letter C, was considered. Or letter D, which considers. A, considers. B, considering. C, was considered. Or D, which considers. Bibilis sumagot ta. Okay. Most of you have answered letter A, considers. Why? Why letter A? The correct answer is letter A. It's the perfect grammatical choice. No, the subject in the sentence is capitalist society, which is considered as a singular subject. So the verb should be a singular verb also, and it is in the present tense. So present form of the verb also. And I've observed the Filipino review, and I want to state the same with what Sir said during that time, that the sentence should sound correct. No, the sentence should sound correct. If it does not sound correct, or if it sounds awkward, it means that something is wrong. Something is grammatically wrong. So if you, for example, start taking the exam and you are not familiar with the words used, or you're quite confused with how to answer the question, especially in English, try to read the sentence using the words available in the choices, and which word you can use. No, it should be sometimes you have to take into consideration the context and yun nga, how it sounds, so you can try to guess the right answer if you really don't know the answer. Yeah. Next, the unforeseen rise in the price of petrol in the country, contrary to the blank elsewhere in the world, is quite alarming for the experts. Again, the unforeseen rise in the price of petrol in the country, contrary to the blank elsewhere in the world, is quite alarming for the experts. Letter A, expenses. Letter B, pads. Letter C, prices. Or letter D, trends. The unforeseen rise in the price of petrol in the country, contrary to the blank elsewhere in the world, is quite alarming for the experts. You have mixed answers. Some says C, some says D. Some answered C, some answered D. Okay. Again, the unforeseen rise, let's put the words in the blank. The unforeseen rise in the price of petrol in the country, contrary to the prices elsewhere in the world, is quite alarming for the experts. Can be. How about letter D? The unforeseen rise in the price of petrol in the country, contrary to the trends elsewhere in the world, is quite alarming for the experts. Ang daming na-convince sa letter C, A lot of you, marami din na-convince sa letter D. Okay, the answer is letter D. Someone mentioned, parang statistics na siya na form. Correct, no? Kasi they are talking about the comparison of the rise in the prices of petrol in the country versus how it is in the other countries. So we should be using letter D, yung trends, because we are pertaining to the rise in the price of the petrol here, not just the prices, but the phenomenon of the rising prices. So, yeah, we're not simply talking about the price, but we are talking about the phenomenon of the rising prices, and it has been based on the context of the statement. It has been rising relative to the experiences of other countries as well. So it has been seen and it has been observed in other countries as well. That's why we are gonna use letter D, trends, no? Kasi you are comparing it. You are comparing the situation in the country to the situation in other countries. Okay? And you can also consider using fad. However, it's not applicable or proper in the context of this sentence. So, in what case, wait lang, let's address a question here. In what case magiging correct yung choices na prices though? Kasi, like what I have mentioned, the focus of the context here is talking about the phenomenon of the rise in the price, not just the price itself. So if the context is talking about just comparing the prices of petrol in different countries, you can consider yung prices. But since you are considering the rise in prices relative to what is experienced by other countries in the world, we have to use yung trends kasi it's a parang it's an observed ongoing phenomenon, kaya siya trends yung ginagamit natin sa kanya. Okay, so fad versus trend. Fad, yeah, we did not use fad. Fad is a quick and short behavior. Trend evolves into a long-term or even permanent change. This is also why we use trend here in this context, because we are establishing the idea that the rise in price is evolving or developing into a long-term phenomenon and can even turn into a permanent change na it will eventually lead to high price in petrol. Okay? Understood na to? Clear? Clear na tayo dito? We usually use fad for fashion. Fashion fads, ganyan. Okay? So, clear na tayo? No more questions for this item? Okay, so let's move on to question number 5. So, quitting smoking, he is trying to blank a change in his lifestyle. Again, quitting smoking, he is trying to blank a change in his lifestyle. Letter A, bring about. Letter B, bring down. Letter C, bring in. Or letter D, bring through. Again, quitting smoking, he is trying to blank a change in his lifestyle. Letter A, bring about. Letter B, bring down. Letter C, bring in. Or letter D, bring through. Okay, comment your answers. Sige. So, most of you, mix answers ulit. Some of you answered A, some of you answered letter C. So, what's the difference between bring about and bring in? So, the correct answer in this case is letter, okay, answer pa, C. A lot has been answering letter C, ah. Sige. The correct answer is letter A. So, bring about simply means to cause something to happen or to initiate something to happen. No? It's bring about a change or bring about change. Then, yung bring in, you have to bring in the chair so it won't get wet when it rains. You move something indoors. Yung bring in. When you are talking about a change or when you are talking about wanting something to happen, you always use bring about. Okay? You always use bring about, not bring in. Okay? Kasi parang you are initiating something. You are trying to change something. You want to cause something to happen. So you choose bring about, no? If you want to change you want to change your lifestyle, you have to bring about a change in your lifestyle. Okay? So again, bring about is to cause something to happen. Bring down, to cut down on or cause to be unenthusiastic. Bring down a person, ganyan. Bring in, to move something indoors. Yan nga yung sabi ko, you have to bring in the clothes in the hanger so it will not get wet when it rains. Bring through, to help someone to survive a challenging experience. Example, he was wait lang. I'm thinking of an example for if you are confused with bring about and bring in, remove bring from the phrase. Just retain the preposition about and in. It would be easier to understand that way, no? Kasi when you talk about in, yun lang. Yung context, the context of in, when you use it in a sentence, usually is to put something inside or put something indoors, diba? I'm thinking of an example for D. Wait lang. Wait lang ah. I'm thinking of an example for letter D. Okay, ito yung example for letter D. The doctors were able to bring David through his sickness. Okay? Gets? Again, for bring through. The doctors were able to bring David through his sickness. Okay? Yes, bring him through his depression. Yan, help him survive. Basta the context is helping someone survive a challenging experience. Okay? So yan, again, bring about, to cause something to happen. If you want to initiate change, if you want change to happen, or if you want to initiate something, you use bring about. Bring down, to cut down on or cause to be unenthusiastic or yun, to bring down someone. Yan. Bring in, to move something indoors. Yun. Bring in the water. Bring in the dog. So, bring through to help someone to survive a challenging experience. Clear na tayo dito? Do you have any more questions for this one? Okay, let's move on to the next question. So, for the second part, on the basis of current standard formal usage, before we move on, do you have any questions pa in the fill in the blanks? My tip for when you are taking the exam, any entrance exam, yun nga, if you really do not know the answer to the question, or if you find the question difficult or confusing, try to use all the words in the choices and fill it in the blank and see what fits best in the context of the sentence. Make sure that the context of the sentence is clear with you so that you can use that. Tapos, I also suggest that you do elimination. No? So, parang if this choice does not sound correct or if it does not fit the context of the sentence, eliminate that choice na. So, the more choices you eliminate, the closer you get to getting the correct answers. No? So, that's when you just do that when you really don't know the answer or you don't understand the words given. And I also suggest that you not leave anything blank. Don't leave questions unanswered. Okay, so even if you have to guess, make sure you make an informed guess, no? But if you have to guess, you try to eliminate, no? Basta make sure that when you are eliminating, it's still relevant to the context of the sentence. Laging ganon. Always go back to the context of the sentence, understand the sentence, so that you will be able to choose the correct answer. I'm not sure, before, when I took the UPCAT, they said na right minus wrong siya. Parang right minus 0.25 wrong. Parang ganon. So you have to get 4 wrong answers to get a -1. I'm not sure if it's true or I'm not sure if they're applying the same ngayon, but when I took the UPCAT, they said ganon. So what I did that time was, if I'm really, really not sure, especially in math and science part, I just skip kasi it will not be counted daw. I don't know if that's true. Ayan, so right minus wrong pa rin siya. Right minus 0.25 wrong. I don't know if they really don't count kapag nagsiskip ka ng answers. Kasi ako, what I did then was, if I'm really not sure, I skip. I don't answer the question. So it will not be counted as a wrong. Yan. So, I'm not sure if it will work. I'm not sure if leaving it blank will work, but if siguro you do that, you leave it blank na lang if you really don't know the answer, yung hindi nyo na talaga kayang i-guess. Yan. So, on the basis, for the part 2 na tayo. Sige. On the basis of current standard formal usage, the sentences below contain errors in spelling, grammar, usage, punctuation, and mechanics and/or idiom. Shade the circle corresponding to the letter of the underlined part which contains the error. For other tips naman, sina Sir Neb will be discussing that on the 37 tips. No? I will just be giving a bit of tips based on my experiences when I took the exam. So, you forget about the tips muna. Later natin siya i-discuss if we still have time. Let's move on to part 2 na. So, for part 2, it's identifying errors. No? So, looking or scrutinizing sentences and finding what is wrong with the sentence. Okay. For number 6, identifying errors. That which is truly characteristic of man is known only to God. Again, that which is truly characteristic of man is known only to God. A, B, C, or no error? Again, that which is truly characteristic of man is known only to God. A, B, C, or no error? A, that, B, which, C is known only to, or D, no error? Again, that which is truly characteristic of man is known only to God. Lahat na sagot nyo, ha? May A, may B, may C, may D. Do you think the sentence sounds correct? Does it sound awkward? Does the sentence sound correct or does it sound awkward? Okay, a lot is answering A, B, or C. The correct answer is letter D. No error. It's correct. It's grammatically correct. The sentence is correct. That which is truly characteristic of man is known only to God. It seems, actually it's not awkward. It's grammatically, the sentence is grammatically correct. So for this one, it's no error. Okay. For number 7, the scientist came to a final conclusion. The scientist came to a final conclusion. A, B, C, or no error? The scientists came to a final conclusion. Okay, a lot of you, or most of you answered letter C. Why letter C? Correct. It is redundant because you already said conclusion, no need to say final. Diba? Because the conclusion is already final. Sige, balikan natin si number 6 ha. Let's go back to number 6. Again, for number 6, it's no error. That which is truly characteristic of man is only known to God. The sentence is talking about the sentence simply means that the true characteristic of man, or who man really is only known to God, or God is the only one who knows who man really is. Okay? So, the sentence construction is grammatically correct. Okay? Yan na. The sentence means nga na God is the only one who knows the true characteristic of man. That is also a different construction of the sentence. But with this sentence with this sentence construction, it is still grammatically correct. Okay? So clear na tayo kay number 6. No more questions with number 6. That which is truly characteristic of man, that which is pertaining to the characteristic of man. Okay na tayo kay number 6. No more question. Sige. So again, with 7, it's redundant, no? When you say conclusion, if you say conclusion, no need to say final anymore. Because your conclusion is already the final. Okay. Number 8. Let's move on to number 8. The media leaked many information about the ongoing investigation. Again, the media leaked many information about the ongoing investigation. A, B, C, or no error. Okay. Okay, majority of the answers are letter B. Why do you think it's letter B? Why letter B? Why letter B? The media leaked many information about the ongoing investigation. Why letter B? If a lot of you has answered letter B, so why letter B? Why is many wrong? Okay. Yun na, correct. Information is a non-countable noun. So non-countable nouns are always in singular form. Also, it sounds awkward. Tama. So many must be deleted because the word information is always in singular form, or with what you have commented, no, it's uncountable noun, yung information. So uncountable nouns, wait lang. So there are other examples of uncountable nouns. So these are nouns that we cannot count or cannot be counted. Like yan, information, news, advice, furniture, luggage, rice, sugar, butter, water. So uncountable nouns, yes, there's no such word as informations. No plural for the word information because it is an uncountable noun. And remember that uncountable nouns are always in singular form. Okay? Always in singular form. Uncountable nouns are always in singular form. For example, this news is very important. The subject is news. Diba? So the verb should be is, singular then. So the news is very important. Your luggage looks heavy. Luggage is singular, considered singular. Despite how many luggage you have, it's still considered singular. And kasi it's an uncountable noun. Yes, it's okay to say a lot of information because it gives context to a lot of information. I guess it's safe to say a lot of sources. A lot of sources regarding this information says, ganun siya. Yan. Hindi rin kasi you cannot replace many with numerous because yun nga uncountable siya. So you don't need a quantifier for information. You can say na there are a lot of sources for the given information, but information and other countable nouns are always considered singular and does not always need a quantifier. So they are always taken yun as a collective. Okay, ano pang example? Advice. I have given you the advice she gave is effective. The advice she gave is effective. Yan. So, remember, uncountable nouns. We do not usually, as a rule, we do not usually use the indefinite article a or n with uncountable nouns. So you cannot say an information. Yan. But we can say a something of, a piece of information, a piece of news, a grain of rice. Okay? Sometimes we can also use some and any with uncountable nouns. So, I've got some money. Have you got any rice? Pwede din a little or much as quantifier. So, we can use certain quantifiers for uncountable nouns. Again, depends on the context of the sentence and depends on the usage of the words in the sentence. A lot of information has been circling around regarding what happened with the news last week. Yun, pwede natin siyang gamitin. Okay, we can use that also. We gathered some information regarding the break-in last night. Yun. So, pwede din natin siyang gamitin. Do you have any information regarding the recent cases of COVID-19? Yun. Those are other examples. Okay? But most of the time, we do not use, and again, if it does not sound right, there must be something wrong with the sentence. Okay, so are we clear with number 8 with uncountable nouns already? No more questions for this one? Okay, so let's move on to the next question. John forbade Emily not to go to the party. Again, John forbade Emily not to go to the party. A, B, C, or no error. John forbade Emily not to go to the party. A, B, C, or no error. Okay, a lot of you answered, or most of you answered letter A, saying that not is redundant and there is a double negative in the sentence. The correct answer is letter A, not. And you're right, it is a double negative. You already said forbade, you have to cancel not. Diba? If not, parang when you say, John forbade Emily not to go to the party, it means that John is allowing Emily to go to the party. Diba? Ganun yung ibig sabihin niya. So, if John really forbade Emily, you have to remove the word not. So, John forbade Emily to go to the party. So in constructing sentences, always avoid redundancy and double negatives. Kasi just like with math, maka-cancel out lang yung negation if there is double negative. A negative and a negative will be a positive. With slangs kasi, the rules of grammar really doesn't fit yung mga slangs. Kaya nga sila slangs eh. Diba? It's just parang nuances in the way people speak. No? So it really does not follow. And yes, informal sentence siya. So it does not really follow proper grammatical form. Okay? Okay, next. For number 10, he who is ready to work will succeed. He who is ready to work will succeed. A, B, C, or D? Number 10, he who is ready to work will succeed. A, B, C, or no error? Okay, most of your answers are letter D. Wait for a while. Most of you answered letter D. The correct answer is letter D, no error. He who is ready to work will succeed. Very simple, no? Okay. So for identifying the error, if you want to make sure, you have to read you have to read the sentence 2-3 times so you can catch what is wrong with the sentence. If you feel, most of the time kasi, if you feel that the answer is no error, mga 70% chance na hindi yun totoo. No, I think na if I remember correctly, when I answered UPCAT, there is parang, if you feel that there's no error, magda-doubt ka talaga eh. You will doubt na no error talaga yon. So, try to read and reread the sentences so you can identify the errors properly. If you think that there's really no error, try reading it again just to make sure that you are really confident with your answers. If you are unsure of your answer, ganun din, skip the question muna, then come back to it na lang. Kasi you might catch something at the second time. So, yun, always read. That's the number one tip for English. Always read and read and read. Because with reading, you understand the questions better. Okay? So, always try to read muna. And don't immediately guess or don't immediately come up with answers. Because sometimes it might be wrong. Okay? So, for part 3, the directions. Each of the sentences below contains an underlined word or phrase. From the 4 suggested meanings, select the one that best fits the context of the underlined word in the sentence. Shade the corresponding circle on the answer sheet. Okay, so from the 4 suggested meanings, select the one that best fits the context of the underlined word in the sentence. So, again, choose which word best fits the context of the sentence. 11. Of course, I would prefer a docile pet over a pugnacious one any day. Again, Of course, I would prefer a docile pet over a pugnacious one any day. Is it letter A, acquiescent, B, aggressive, C, passive, or D, wild? What does pugnacious mean? Acquiescent, aggressive, passive, or wild? Sige, answer. Okay, almost all of you answered letter B, aggressive. Let's see, the correct answer is letter B, aggressive. Okay, so pugnacious means eager or quick to argue, quarrel, or fight. So eager or quick to argue, quarrel, or fight does not necessarily mean wild, diba? So again, the closest meaning or the closest word to the meaning of pugnacious is letter B, aggressive. Acquiescent means ready to accept something without protest or to do what someone else wants. Okay? Antonym siya ng pugnacious. No? Aggressive, ready or likely to attack or confront. So, synonym sila ni pugnacious. Passive, accepting or allowing what happens or what others do. Again, an antonym. Wild, not domesticated. It's not close to what pugnacious means. With my experience in taking the UPCAT, there are really a lot of highfalutin words and a lot of words that I don't know and a lot of words that I am not aware of, 'di ba? Parang hala, nag-i-exist pala tong ganitong word, ganyan. So, my suggestion for you is to when preparing for UPCAT and other entrance exams as well, you try to read yung thesaurus, ganyan, or yung dictionary, familiarize yourselves with different words, no? Familiarize yourselves with the meaning of different words, kahit yung mga synonyms and antonyms lang, so that when you go to this type of question, you will have an idea on how to answer. Okay, so yun, read and read lang talaga. For number 12, when it comes to winning the elections, yeah, context clues also, but sometimes kasi, if the words are really new to you, bago sa pandinig nyo, bago nyo lang nakita or nabasa yung word na yon, context clues will not help you this time. So, what I really suggest is to familiarize yourselves with a lot of words so that you will be able to answer this type of questions properly or yung part ng question na to properly. So when it comes to winning the elections, for number 12, there is no type of perfidy in which traditional politicians will not engage. Again, when it comes to winning the elections, there is no type of perfidy in which traditional politicians will not engage. Letter A, campaign. Letter B, disloyalty. Letter C, legitimacy. Or letter D, veracity, which is the closest to perfidy. Okay. Most of you have answered letter B, disloyalty. Okay, so what does perfidy means? Perfidy is close to or means disloyalty. Perfidy means deceitfulness or untrustworthiness. Its synonyms are treachery, duplicity, deceit, deceitfulness, disloyalty, infidelity, faithlessness, unfaithfulness, betrayal, treason, double dealing, untrustworthiness, and breach of trust. So, all these, diba? Asan na yung disloyalty? Yan, disloyalty is a synonym of perfidy. So what does the other word mean? Campaign. Work in an organized and active way to avoid a particular goal, typically a political or social one, not even close to what perfidy means, no? Disloyalty nga, the quality of not being loyal or unfaithfulness. Legitimacy, conformity to the law or to rules. So, antonym of perfidy. And veracity, conformity to facts and accuracy. An example, when used in a sentence or a phrase, the perfidy of the husband, no? Or the untrustworthiness of the husband, the disloyalty of the husband, di ba? The perfidy of your boyfriend or your girlfriend, di ba? Yan. So it's deceitfulness, untrustworthiness, or disloyalty. Next. Oh, who does online dating here? Tinder, Bumble. Yan. Online dating has gone from a nascent idea to an established concept that helps millions of people find love. Again, online dating has gone from a nascent idea to an established concept that helps millions of people find love. Letter A, declining. B, divergent. C, emergent. Or D, failing. Others, what's omegle? Omegle ba yun? Okay, again, online dating has gone from a nascent idea to an established concept that helps millions of people find love. Huwag nating gamiting online dating platform tong big marker, ha? Baka maghingian kayo ng number dyan sa chat box. Okay, again, online dating has gone from a nascent idea to an established concept that helps millions of people find love. A, declining. B, divergent. C, emergent. Or D, failing. The correct answer is emergent. Nascent means emergent. Nascent, especially of a process or organization, just coming into existence and beginning to display signs of future potential. So just coming into existence, so fairly new, and displaying signs of future potential. So synonyms of nascent is beginning, budding, developing, growing, embryonic, incipient, young, fledgling, evolving, emergent, dawning, burgeoning, or as example in a phrase, the nascent economic recovery. Okay, tama, nangyayari, ay, nag-emerge. Nascent means, yun nga, nag-emerge and slowly gaining, gaining strength and showing signs of future potential. So, synonymous to emerging. Okay, what are the meaning of the other words? Declining, diminishing in strength or quality, or deteriorating. So, antonym siya ni nascent. Divergent, tending to be different or develop in different directions. Hindi rin siya close. Emergent, in the process of coming into being or becoming prominent. Yan. Synonymous with nascent. And failing, a weakness especially in character, a shortcoming. So, antonym din siya ni nascent. Okay, so nascent is emergent. Number 14. The critics did not see him as a serious filmmaker, only as a dilettante who was bored with his life. Again, the critics did not see him as a serious filmmaker, only as a dilettante who was bored with his life. So the critics did not see him as a serious filmmaker, only as a dilettante who was bored with his life. Letter A, dabbler. B, explorer. C, innovator. Or D, potential. Again, the critics did not see him as a serious filmmaker, only as a dilettante who was bored with his life. Okay, what are your answers? Most of you answered letter A. The correct answer is letter A, dabbler. Dilettante means a person who cultivates an area of interest, such as the arts, without real commitment or knowledge. So, nagdadabble lang siya doon, no? Parang trying to steer his or her interests, but not really committed into doing that or exerting effort into learning and doing the process. So, that's a dilettante. Synonyms are dabbler, amateur, non-professional, non-specialist, layman, layperson, and in a phrase, it can be used as, there's no room for the dilettante in this business. Okay, so again, si dilettante, ano siya parang gusto niya lang gawin, gusto niya lang gusto niya lang itry, pero hindi niya gustong seryosohin. Yan. Ganun, yun yung dilettante, no? So, nagda-dabble lang siya. Dabbling in the arts or dabbling in music, but with no serious, but not really considering doing it. Walang serious consideration into doing it. Yan. So, that's a dilettante. Dilettante ba kayo? Na gusto, magaling lang kayo sa start, pero you're really not committed? Dapat hindi, di ba? We should, when we do something, we should always be committed in doing that. Oh, for this review, for example, don't be dilettante in this review. Diba? You have to commit. Diba? You have to be committed to doing this review so that you will pass your exams. What does the other word mean? Dabbler. 1, not deeply engaged in or concerned with something. So, yun nga. Dilettante is dabbler. Explorer, a person, nakatawa ako sa mga comment nyo, Explorer, a person who explores an unfamiliar area. Innovator, a person who introduces new methods, ideas, or products. And potential, having or showing the capacity to become or develop into something in the future. Next. Okay. Part 4. For part 4, if you have a pen and paper with you, best to use it now. Kasi we are going to arrange sentences. Yeah, we're going to arrange phrases and sentences. Okay, so best to use a scratch paper and a pen para mas madali natin siyang ma-discuss. So for part 4, determine the best order of the following words, phrases, and sentences to form a logical, unified, and coherent sentence or paragraph. Choose the letter that corresponds to the correct answer. Again, determine the best order of the following words, phrases, and sentences to form a logical, unified, and coherent sentence or paragraph. Choose the letter that corresponds to the correct answer. Okay, have your pen and papers ready. For number 15, alcohol-related social media posts. A new study says, appear to influence youth alcohol consumption. What is the proper order of the phrases? Again, alcohol-related social media posts. A new study says, appear to influence youth alcohol consumption. Okay, I'll give you 3 minutes. to arrange. Most of you are answering letter D. Okay na? Sige, most of you answered letter D, but some answered letter C. Sige, konti pa. Letter B or letter C? The correct answer is letter C. Good eye. Meron nag-mention dito, may comma sa dulo ng number 4. So, hindi siya pwedeng maging last. Okay, good eye yun, no? So, the answer is letter C. Alcohol-related social media posts appear to influence youth alcohol consumption, a new study says. So, isang tip yon, no? Isang tip. Look for punctuation marks that might help you identify the position of the phrase in the sentence. Okay, so for in this case, you cannot choose number 4 as the last phrase kasi nga it has a comma. Okay, so check nyo yun kaagad. But most of the time then hindi nakakatulong yung mga punctuation marks. Especially, for example, if there are a lot of commas in the sentence, kapag complex yung sentence, ganyan, and they usually don't put period, or they usually do not capitalize the first letter of the first phrase, yan. So, you have to really read, no? In UPCAT, yung UPCAT kasi is always being prepared meticulously, properly, no? So, very rare yung magkakaroon ng typo or typographical errors. So, if you think na typo siya, malamang hindi siya typo. Okay? So, you have to be aware of that. No? So, ito, kunyari ito, hindi to typo, yung comma. No? It's really there. So, yan yung 15. So, for number 16, there are a lot of Filipino people whom they even describe the greatness of Rizal as the greatest Filipino who fully appreciate of all time. Again, there are a lot of Filipino people whom they even describe the greatness of Rizal as the greatest Filipino who fully appreciate of all time. Okay, 3 minutes to answer. Yung period is not included in the choices. Nakahiwalay siya, nasa of all time siya, di ba? Not part of the phrases in the choices. Again, there are a lot of Filipino people whom they even describe the greatness of Rizal as the greatest Filipino who fully appreciate of all time. No, hindi kasama sa number 4 yung of all time. Nakahiwalay siya. It's a different line. Number 4 is only who fully appreciate. Nasa baba siya. Dapat aware kayo sa ganon. You might be mistaken kapag hindi nyo tinitingnan maigi yung question and yung choices. Okay? Sige, most of you answered letter D. Some answered letter B. B is 1324, D is 4213. Try natin si letter D, 4213. There are a lot of people who fully appreciate the greatness of Rizal, whom they even describe as the greatest Filipino of all time. Pwede. Letter C. Yung letter C, there are a lot of Filipino people as who fully appreciate as the greatest Filipino, whom they even describe the greatness of Rizal. Parang ang gulo nung D. Sino nag-answer ng D? Ay, ng C pala, ng C. Sorry. Okay, the correct answer is letter D. There are a lot of Filipino people who fully appreciate the greatness of Rizal, whom they even describe as the greatest Filipino of all time. When you are arranging sentences, again, number one is to identify the context of the sentence. So you can properly arrange the phrases to form a coherent sentence. Number two, you identify if there is a relationship between the phrases, so that you can parang identify if there's a cause and effect relationship in the sentence. Like, for example, see number 15. For example, number 15, no? There is a certain cause and effect relationship in the sentence. So, you have to identify that so you can build the sentence properly or form the sentence properly, no? So, number one tip is to find the context of the sentence. What is the sentence talking about? What is the message of the sentence? What does it want to tell us? Diba? What does it entail? Yeah. So you would have that in mind. You would have that in mind when you are arranging the sentences. Okay? Yun yung number one palagi. Na basahin nyo siya kaagad. Again, number one tip yun for English, read and read and read and read. So yung mga ayaw magbasa dyan, wala kayong choice kung hindi mag-practice talagang magbasa. On number 17, this is longer. Read. I'll give you 5 minutes for this. Memory transfer has been at the heart of science fiction for decades, but it's becoming more like science fact. The snails were trained to develop reaction. The research published in the journal eNeuro could provide new clues in the search for the physical basis of memory. When the RNA was inserted into snails that had not undergone this process, they behaved just as if they had been sensitized. Number 4, a team successfully transplanted memories by transferring a form of genetic information called RNA from one snail into another. Again, memory transfer has been at the heart of science fiction for decades, but it's becoming more like science fact. The snails were trained to develop a defensive reaction. The research published in the journal eNeuro could provide new clues in the search for the physical basis of memory. When the RNA was inserted into snails that had not undergone this process, they behaved just as if they had been sensitized. A team successfully transplanted memories by transferring a form of genetic information called RNA. Letter A, 4132, B, 1324, C, 4321, or D, 1243. A lot has answered A. A lot of you have answered A. Almost all. No, lahat nag-answer ng letter A. In UPCAT, there are phrases that are even longer than example number 17. There are I even before when we did review for RM, there are a lot more that's longer than number 17. So you really have to practice having a quick eye for reading. The correct answer is letter A. Memory transfer has been at the heart of science fiction for decades, but it's becoming more like science fact. A team successfully transplanted memories by transferring a form of genetic information called RNA from one snail into another. The snails were trained to develop a defensive reaction. When the RNA was inserted into snails that had not undergone this process, they behaved just as if they had been sensitized. The research published in the journal eNeuro could provide new clues in the search for the physical basis of memory. Another tip pala for this type of exam, you have to find the main idea or understand the main idea of the sentence or of the paragraph that you are forming, so that you can answer it or you can arrange it properly. Kasi when you know the main idea, you would be aware of how it should go or how the order should be. No? So, try and understand the main idea or try and catch the main idea of the sentence or of the paragraph. Okay. Okay na tayo. This is quite challenging. This part of the test is quite challenging, yung pag-arrange ng mga sentences. But yun nga, always focus on the context of the sentence, identify the main idea of the sentence, try to analyze if there is a relationship or try to form or identify the relationship between the phrases and the sentences, so you would know which comes first, which comes second, which comes last. No, so you would have an idea on how to properly arrange the sentence. The challenge with English kasi is with math, for example, and science, for example, there are absolute answers. Parang there's always an absolute or a given answer for any question. With English kasi, you really have to rely on rules, diba? Grammar rules, your understanding of proper sentence construction, grammar, etc. Diba? So, yun. Pwede din yun, no, na look into the choices first. Tignan nyo muna yung choices. Again, yung tip ko kanina, diba? Elimination. Ang trick lang dito, if you're looking at the choices first and you are trying to eliminate yung mga wrong answers, it will take time. Especially if like number 17, ganito kahaba yung mga phrases that you are gonna arrange, it will really take time if you will use the elimination process or yung titingin muna kayo dito sa choices, saka nyo i-arrange or itatry nyo na i-arrange doon. So, pwede nyo gawin yun, yung mag-eliminate kayo ng choices if short lang yung mga phrases or short lang yung mga sentences. But for longer sentences, pwede rin siya, kaya lang you have to be aware of your time. No? Ano to when you're taking the UPCAT or any entrance exam, sobrang bilis ng oras, no? I remember I was starting with math pa lang. So, bagal pa ako sumagot, and then I was doing solutions properly, ganyan. Tapos when I look up, parang 15 minutes na lang yung remaining, and I was still just halfway through the questionnaire. So, nagmadali ako, 'di ba? So, always be aware of the time and always be conscious of the time. Manage your time properly, so you will not lose precious time. Okay, for part 5. I think this is the last part for the language proficiency. Then after the language proficiency, we will go to reading comprehension. So for part 5, Choose the best from among the given statements below. Shade the corresponding circle on the given answer sheet. Number 18. Except for Anna, so choose the best form of the statement. So it's like identifying errors and then changing it. So except for Anna and I, everyone have brought a date to the wedding party. Is it correct or is it letter A? Except for Anna and me, everyone have brought a date to the wedding party. B, except for Anna and me, everyone had brought a date to the wedding party. C, with the exception of Anna and I, everyone brought a date to the wedding party. Or D, no improvement needed. How can the sentence be best improved? Except for Anna and I, everyone have brought a date to the wedding party. Is it letter A, B, C, or D? Okay, most of you have answered letter C, while some answered letter A. Tignan natin ulit Si letter A, except for Anna and me, everyone have brought a date to the wedding party. C, letter C naman, with the exception of Anna and I, everyone brought a date to the wedding party. The correct answer is letter, may sumagot na rin ng B tsaka ng D. The correct answer is letter A. Hindi dahil maarte si letter C, yun na agad yung tamang sagot. Letter A. Kasi, why is it except for Anna and me, not Anna and I? Kasi Anna and me is the object of the sentence. So, dapat objective form nung I yung gagamitin natin, which is me. So, yung letter A yung gagamitin natin. Dapat me siya kasi dapat me siya kasi objective. Yes, Anna and me is not the subject. They are the object of the sentence. Okay? So, dapat object sila ng sentence. So, dapat hindi I yung gagamitin mo, but me. Kasi yung me, yung objective pronoun na yung me yung objective pronoun. Anna and I, you use I kapag yun yung subject of the sentence. You only use I if it's subject of the sentence. Dali lang, bine-verify ko si everyone para sure tayo. Everyone kasi is considered as singular. Has is singular, have is plural, had is past tense. Actually, everyone have is also correct. Sige, I will verify this but everyone everyone kasi is considered a singular pronoun. So I'm checking if in the grammar rules we can use have yung plural form in using everyone. In pertaining to everyone. Indefinite pronouns, yung everyone, everybody, everything, everywhere kasi is indefinite pronoun, no? Yeah. So, if it yung indefinite pronoun usually takes a singular form. Oo, Ana and I is not the subject pag nakabaliktad kasi yung sentence. So, pag binaliktad natin siya, everyone have brought a date to the wedding party except for Anna and me. So, Anna and me is the object of the preposition for and the object of the sentence, no? Yung everyone, that is the subject. So, what we are trying to resolve now is everyone is a indefinite pronoun which usually takes the singular form. So, we're looking at if we can use have or dapat letter or dapat has ito. Basta remember, has is singular, have is plural, and had is in the past. Okay? But in this case, kaya siya me instead of I is because me is the object of the sentence, object of the preposition for. It's not the subject. If it is the subject, you can use I. Okay? So 19. The social workers must have to be very patient when dealing with victims of calamities. A. The social workers must be very patient when dealing with victims of calamities. B. The social workers should have very patient when dealing with victims of calamities. C. The social workers should have to be very patient when dealing with victims of calamities. Or D. No improvement needed. What's your answer for number 19? The social workers must have to be very patient when dealing with victims of calamities. A, B, C, or no improvement? The correct answer for this one is letter A. The social workers must be very patient when dealing with victims of calamities. Ang dami mo ng verb kapag sinama mo pa yung have. I said we will get back to number 18. We just have to move on kasi we have limited time. Balikan natin si number 18 later. So, the answer is letter A. The social workers must be very patient when dealing with victims of calamities. Okay, next. Gina never has and she never will keep her promise. A. Gina has not ever and she will keep her promise. B. Gina can never and she never do so keep her promise. C. Gina never has kept and never will keep her promise. Or D. No improvement needed. For number 20. Gina never has and she never will keep her promise. A, B, C, or D. No improvement. The correct answer is letter C. Gina never has kept and never will keep her promise. Parallelism to. When you are writing a sentence, make sure that it is always parallel. Okay? So, parallelism yung ginamit natin na rule for number 20. Kaya dapat letter C yung sagot. Gina never has kept and never will keep her promise. Okay, now moving on to the reading comprehension part of the discussion. So read each selection carefully, then answer the questions that follow. On your answer sheet, shade a circle corresponding to your choice of the best answer. Okay. 5 minutes to read. Geek trait, someone with a specific niche interest, lifestyle that they have become the expert on, an early adopter, a Mac. Knowledge can range from mundane to living encyclopedia status, can be pretentious and long-winded, wears ironic t-shirts. Interests might include gaming, film, both RC film, and anything Will Ferrell stars in, collecting, gadgets, tech, computing, coding, hacking, techno music, screen printing, etc. A fan of gadgets. So that's geek traits. Nerd traits, extreme interest or fascination with academics, introverted, socially inept, diverse, and sometimes impractical skills due to broad interests in games, movies, science, computers, etc. A PC. Interests might include Battlestars Galactica, LARPing, Second Life, physics, chess, fantasy, sci-fi, computer programming. So for 21, which of the following statements is or true based on the illustration above? The words nerd and geek are often used interchangeably because they mean the same thing. B. Nerds are obsessed with the newest, coolest, trendiest things. C. Geeks are achievement-oriented and focus their efforts on acquiring knowledge and skill over trivia and memorabilia. Or D. None of the above. When looking at reading comprehension, when answering reading comprehension type of exams, always make sure that it is stated in the passage. Okay? You cannot assume. Should be in the context of the passage. For this one, the correct answer is letter D, none of the above. None of this was stated in the illustration. So, none of the above is the answer. Passage number 22. Which of the following jobs would a nerd most likely have? A. Gamer, B. Computer programmer, C. Web designer, or D. All of the above. Again, based on the illustration, which of the following jobs would a nerd most likely have? Gamer, computer programmer, web designer, or all of the above? Nerd yung nasa right side. The correct answer is letter B, computer programmer. Kasi it is listed as one of the interests of the nerd in the illustration. Diba? Computer programming is one of the interests of the nerd in the illustration. Next one. The following are likely geek jobs except for bartender, entrepreneur, marketer, or professor. The following are likely geek jobs except for bartender, entrepreneur, marketer, or professor. Likely geek jobs. Except for letter D, professor. The geek is not likely to become a professor. Least likely to become a professor. So your answer is letter D. Parang wala siya dun sa mga interest ng isang geek. So inference to, you have to infer from the illustration. Next, passage B. 1 out of 2 self-employed professionals in Makati paid less tax than a public school teacher. 54% of 2,031 self-employed accountants, doctors, and lawyers registered in BIR revenue district offices, 47, 48, 49, and 50, paid less than 35,000 in taxes in 2012. A public school teacher earning 25,500 per month even pays more tax every year. The data shows more ridiculously low tax payment. So accountants, out of 318 accountants, the top one paid 4 million in taxes, but the 318th accountant paid just 120. The 317th accountant paid 138, that's lower than the daily minimum wage in NCR. One among 1,179 doctors paid 10 pesos in taxes, a little more than an average jeepney ride. Another doctor paid just 82 pesos and 50 cents. A blended drink at a coffee shop cost twice as much. A lawyer among 534 lawyers paid 200, which in some places can't get you a movie ticket. And another one paid only 475, a small amount compared to what lawyers usually charge their client. Asterisk, baka kailangang i-enroll ang mga ito sa DSWD Conditional Cash Transfer Programs. Okay, next. What is the tone of the infographic? A, biased, B, concerned, C, displeased, or D, sympathizing. What is the tone of the infographic? Biased, concerned, displeased, or sympathizing? The correct answer for this one is letter C, displeased. No, that the one who wrote the infographic is displeased that public school teachers who are paid less are paying more than doctors, accountants, or lawyers, which are paid more. Which of the following titles would best fit the infographic? The taxes paid by professionals. Who pays less? A teacher or a self-employed professional? Which profession makes more money? Or how unfair taxation may look like? What's the answer for 25? Which of the following titles would best fit the infographic? Oh, wait lang ha. We still have to cover 10 more questions. We will go back to all unclear questions later after discussing all questions. So, mag-move on muna yung mga utak natin. Focus on the current question at hand. Okay, so again, which of the following titles would best fit the infographic? The correct answer is letter D. How unfair taxation may look like. Kasi for this case, teachers are automatically deducted with taxes from their salary, while the other three professions are filing as self-employed. So unfair taxation. 26. What is the tone of line? Baka kailangan i-enroll ang mga ito sa DSWD Conditional Cash Transfer Program. Again, what is the tone of line? Baka kailangan i-enroll ang mga ito sa DSWD Conditional Cash Transfer Program. A, compassion, B, concern, C, sarcasm, or D, all of the above. The correct answer for number 26 is letter C, sarcasm. Diba? Kasi sarcastic yung writer ng infographic or yung creator ng infographic. 27. Which of the following statements is or not true? All accountants pay less taxes than public school teachers. A doctor paid tax amounting to more than an average jeepney ride. Some self-employed taxpayers in the Philippines pay more taxes than public school teachers. Which of the following statements are not true? Be careful in this kind of questions. Make sure to read the questions properly. Common mistake yung mga ganito kasi. The correct answer for this one, most of you answered letter D. The correct answer for this one is letter D, both A and C. Not true. All accountants pay less taxes than public school teachers. Not true. In the case of the infographic, the author only pointed out two, if I'm not mistaken. And C, some self-employed taxpayers in the Philippines pay more taxes than public school teachers. Not stated in the infographic as well. Okay, passage C. This Mother's Day, get back to the job that really matters. Mr. Clean advert. This Mother's Day, get back to the job that really matters. 28. What does the advert suggest? A. Cleaning is the most important task that mothers should do. B. Mother's Day is the only day that should be dedicated to do housework. C. Mothers have left the houses to look for other jobs and that is not good. Or letter D, both A and B. Again, what does the advert suggest? Cleaning is the most important task that mothers should do. Mother's Day is the only day that should be dedicated to do the housework. Mothers have left the houses to look for other jobs that is not good. Or D, both A and B. The correct answer is letter A. Cleaning is the most important task that mothers should do. So based on the advert, ito yung statement that the advert wants to convey. What could be the most likely reason why this advert may not work? What could be the most likely reason why this advert may not work? A. It is irrelevant. B. It is too demanding. C. It appears chauvinistic. Or D. All of the above. A. It is irrelevant. B. It is too demanding. C. It appears chauvinistic. Or D. All of the above. Okay, most of you answered letter C. The correct answer for 29 based on the advert is letter C. It appears chauvinistic. Yun nga, sexist yung advert, di ba? Stating that stating that women are made to clean lang, na dapat nag-clean lang yung mga babae, di ba? So it's a chauvinistic and sexist ad. Next one. Which of the following elements shows the lack of gender sensitivity in this advert? A. The text. B. The product. C. The mother and the daughter. Or D. All of the above. Which of the following elements shows the lack of gender sensitivity in this advert? The text, the product, the mother and the daughter, or all of the above? The correct answer is letter A, the text. Diba? Kasi yung text explicitly says that a woman should go back to cleaning. Passage D, the last passage. Be glad your nose is on your face by Jack Prelutsky. Be glad your nose is on your face, not pasted on some other place. For if it were where it is not, you might dislike your nose a lot. Imagine if your precious nose were sandwiched in between your toes. That clearly would not be a cheat, for you'd be forced to smell your feet. Your nose would be a source of dread, were it attached atop your head. It soon would drive you to despair, forever tickled by your hair. Within your ear, your nose would be an absolute catastrophe. For when you were obliged to sneeze, your brain would rattle from the breeze. Your nose instead, through thick and thin, remains between your eyes and chin. Not pasted on some other place, be glad your nose is on your face. What emotion does the author want to convey through the use of the statement, be glad your nose is on your face? Confidence, gratefulness, playfulness, or sarcasm? A. Confidence, B. Gratefulness, C. Playfulness, or D. Sarcasm? The correct answer is letter B, gratefulness. Be glad your nose is on your face. So be grateful that your nose is on your face, not anywhere else. Number 32. In which reading material is this poem most likely to be published? A. Beauty magazine, B. Blog entry on self-worth, C. Children's comics, or D. Feature page on a newspaper? A. Beauty magazine, B. Blog entry on self-worth, C. Children's comics, D. Feature page on a newspaper. Some answered B, some answered C. The correct answer is letter C. I try to identify the tone of the poem and the words used in the poem, diba? It's mostly for children, for the use of children. Number 33. Which of the following statements is true according to the poem? The nose need not be kept between our eyes and chin. Oh, which of the statements is true? The nose need not be kept between our eyes and chin. The nose had better be found somewhere else in the body. The nose, at its current place, must be left alone as there are reasons why it's where it is. Or D, there should be a certain level of creativity when thinking about where the nose should be located. A, B, C, or D? Most of you answered letter C. The correct answer is letter C. The nose at its current place must be left alone as there are reasons why it's where it is. Okay. Passage E. Hey Jude by the Beatles. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better. Hey Jude, don't be afraid. You were made to go out and get her. The minute you let her under your skin, then you begin to make it better. And anytime you feel the pain, hey Jude, refrain. Don't carry the world upon your shoulders. For when you know that it's a fool who plays it cool by making his world a little colder. Hey Jude, don't let me down. You have found her. Now go. Hindi ko alam yung tono. Sorry, hindi ko makanta. Now go and get her. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better. So let it out and let it in. Hey Jude, begin. You're waiting for someone to perform with. And don't you know that it's just you? Hey Jude, you'll do. The movement you need is on your shoulder. So that's a song by the Beatles, no? The line, it's a fool who plays it cool by making his world a little colder, mean a person who cares about nothing is a fool. A person who pushes others will be unhappy. A person who pretends to be happy even when he's not is not a cool person. Or D, all of the above. Again, the line, it's a fool who plays it cool by making his world a little colder, mean a person who cares about nothing is a fool. A person who pushes others away will be unhappy. A person who pretends to be happy even when he's not is a cool person. Or D, all of the above. Okay, most of you answered letter B. A person who pushes others away will be unhappy. The correct answer is letter B. So don't push people away. Don't push people away so you will be happy. Next. In the song, the word her refers to a woman, a significant other, the concept of love, or none of the above. In the song, the word her refers to a woman, a significant other, the concept of love, or none of the above. A woman, a significant other, the concept of love, or none of the above. There are C and B answers, mix of C and B. The correct answer is letter C, the concept of love. So her pertains to the concept of love. Okay. So that's the last question na pala. That's the last question. In the song, the word her refers to a woman. So let's go back to question 18 muna. 18 yun, no? Yung may everyone. Am I correct? Before I give my tips on reading comprehension, let's resolve this one muna. Yan. So the correct answer is letter 18 muna tayo. The correct answer is letter A, except for Anna and me. Everyone have brought a day to the wedding party. So like what I've mentioned, everyone is an indefinite pronoun that is usually taken as a singular pronoun. However, parang there are exceptions when, for example, everyone is used to pertain to a name, or everyone is taken as a name. Get? So parang when everyone is taken as a name, it can be followed by have. So for example, children have fun, everyone have fun. So parang everyone is taken as a name, diba, that pertains to a lot of people. So we use have. Ang indefinite pronouns kasi is really yung indefinite pronouns like everyone, everybody, everything, anyone, no one, yan. Those are examples of indefinite pronouns are usually taken as singular. But in this case nga, for number 18, everyone, the word everyone here is taken as a name. Okay, so kaya have yung ginamit natin. Kaya siya dahil it pertains to everyone na considered as a name. So it's not in its singular form. Gets na natin siya, and kaya siya me because Anna and me is the object of the preposition. Okay? Gets na natin to? Again, everyone is taken as a name here in this context, in this sentence. That's why we will use have. And then me, not I, because me is the objective form of the pronoun I, and it is the object of the preposition for. So the best answer in this case is letter A. Sometimes kasi in questions like this, it's confusing because there are choices that can be considered correct, no? Both correct. But you always have to choose the best answer. Okay? You always have to choose the best answer. Ay. Okay. Oo, taken as a name nga siya. But pwede din natin siyang gawin na everyone brought a day to the wedding party except for Anna and me. But in this case, since these are the choices, you have to pick the best possible answer, which is letter A. Palaging ganun na. Always keep in mind that you have to choose the best possible answer. In this case nga, yung have yung best possible answer natin. Di ba, in-explain ko na siya why have. Yes, pwede nga siyang tanggalin, yung have. But, if this is the choices, yun lang yung choices natin. So, we have to choose the best possible answer, which is letter A. Clear na tayo doon? Clear na tayo doon? Indicator na taken siya as a name, it depends on the context of the sentence. So, you have to understand the context of the sentence para alam mo kung ganun mo siya gagamitin. Though since everyone is considered singular, yun nga, pwede mo rin, depends on the context of the sentence really. Oo nga di ba, na-explain na natin siya kanina. Okay na tayo kay 18? We can move on to 23. 23 yung isa, di ba? It's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's grammatically correct. The letter A is not wrong. It is grammatically correct. And it is the best possible answer among the choices. Clear? In-explain ko na why, di ba? In-explain ko na why have yung nag-fit doon. Okay. So, clear na tayo with 18? Clear na. 23 na tayo. Kay bartender. Okay. Sige, tignan ulit natin yung interest niya. Ni geek. Geek, di ba? Geek. Interests might include gaming, film, both artsy, film and anything Will Ferrell stars in, collecting, gadgets and tech, computing, coding, hacking, techno music, screen printing, etc. Fan of gadgets, wears ironic t-shirts, can be pretentious and long-winded. Knowledge can range from mundane to living encyclopedia status. Someone with a specific niche, interest, lifestyle that they have become the expert on, an early adopter. So that's the traits ni geek, no? So si 23, the following are likely geek jobs except for bartender, entrepreneur, marketer, or professor. The answer is professor. Bakit nyo ba pinipilit si bartender? What's the problem with bartender? Ang sabi dito, someone with a specific niche, interest, lifestyle that they have become the expert on. So, sige, can become a bartender if it's in his interest or in his lifestyle. Diba? Yung question likely geek jobs. Pwedeng geek jobs except for. So, it can be, a geek can become a bartender, especially if it's in his interest or lifestyle or niche or something that he wants to do. Entrepreneur, same explanation. Marketer, same explanation. Least likely siya maging professor kasi wala sa interest niya unless siguro maging professor siya of computers, ganyan. But that's the least likely. Gets na natin? Least likely kasi dito, or likely except. So parang least likely, ano yung pinaka least na pwedeng maging trabaho ng isang geek. Okay. May question pa tayo dito kay bartender, kay geek. Oh, pero again, yung question natin is least likely. 'Di ba? Likely jobs except for ano yung considered na likely ano yung considered na likely geek jobs? Lahat naman pwedeng maging job ng isang geek. Pero if we refer to the infographic, alin doon yung pinaka least likely na magiging trabaho niya? Yun. Don't complicate it too much. Don't overthink the question. Base nyo lang siya dun sa infographic. Kasi oo, lahat naman pwedeng maging trabaho ng geek, di ba? But, oo, least likely siya. Hindi, not entirely exact na bawal maging professor yung geek. Nagigets nyo? Yun. So, babalikan nyo lang palagi yung infographic. Mas artistic kasi, based on the interest of the geek, mas artistic siya. So, mas artistic jobs yung tatlo. Yung bartender, marketing, tsaka entrepreneur. Diba? Tingnan nyo kasi yung interest niya dito, oh. Clear na? So, tips for reading comprehension. Yan. So, tips on reading comprehension. Scan the entire test. So, if you're already on the reading comprehension part of the test, make sure to check how many passages you need to read and how many questions per passage you need to answer. This can help you manage your time properly. In our examples, those are purely infographics and they are pretty short, but when doing the UPCAT, they will give you really long passages. Okay, so you have to make sure that you check out all the passages first, identify which passages are long, which are short, which can be easy to read, tapos which are harder to read, so you can manage your time properly. Next, focus on the questions. One tip done is to read the question first before you read the passage so that you will have an idea on what to look out for in the passage. So, pag alam nyo na yung mga tanong, alam nyo na kung ano yung hahanapin nyo na sagot dun sa passage. It will save you time. If you're not avid readers talaga. Work on identifying context clues. Keep an eye out on context clues that will help you understand the passage and identify the meaning of certain words that might come up in the question. So, work on identifying context clues. Ito, helpful to doon kay geek tsaka kay nerd, no? So, babasin natin siya dun sa context clues and don't over-focus on the questions. Huwag niyong i-overthink yung questions. Just make sure that you are sticking with what the passage is saying. Next, manage your time properly. Do not spend too much time on a passage or a question that you find hard to comprehend. Move on to the next passage or question, but make sure to allot time in going back to passages or questions that you have skipped. Like I've mentioned a while ago, no, strict sa time sa UPCAT. Very strict sa time sa UPCAT. Lalo na if strict yung proctor nyo. So you really have to make sure that you are aware of the time. You have to manage your time properly and answer as much questions as possible, if not all the questions. No, and make sure you get the right answer. Then focus on opening and closing paragraphs. In long passages, it's best to focus on opening paragraphs and closing paragraphs, because opening paragraphs already gives an overview of what the passages will talk about, while the closing paragraph summarizes the important points. So you can gather a lot of information from these paragraphs. Sometimes, just by reading the opening and the closing paragraph, you can already understand what the passage is talking about, which makes it easier for you to answer the questions. Work on your vocabulary. So, yung suggestion ko kanina, to read thesaurus, di ba? Magbasa kayo ng kung ano-ano, and practice reading every day. So, if you're not an avid reader or you're not a voracious reader, practice reading short passages, may ikse hanggang mahahaba, easy read and difficult reads, ganon. So, you can get to practice your reading comprehension skills, no? The best step talaga for English is to just read and familiarize yourself with the proper rules on English, kasi it is flexible and there is no specific answer, parang not like math and science na absolute yung answers. Okay, you have any more questions? No more questions? Clear na tayo with all of the questions that we have discussed? Clear na? Okay, I think we're okay na po.
All right. Thank you, Ma'am Mariel.
Thank you,
everyone
sir.
in class. Okay. So, thank you for this session. Now we have ended all our Jumpstart sessions. Thank you again for attending this Jumpstart session. You have all been a very big help, kasi yung mga comments nyo nakikita ng mga estudyante yan when we do our recordings. Kung nakikita nyo, isa-isa nang nag-up yung recording. So for those of you who missed the classes before, you can watch the recordings. So with that, bye and see you again on Saturday.